Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is practice. Practice makes perfect. Perfect makes a Wednesday night, and you, of course, are here on a Wednesday night. And that means it's all right here with the Painting with Menoth John Wednesday night extravaganza. Feel like there's a bit of a muted tone to doing a podcast that's as silly as this one in such serious times. But we are here to bring the positivity. We're here to bring the sensitivity. We're here to bring the paintbrushes and the whatnots. And with me, of course, is the man, the myth, the legend. You know him. You love him. He is the mighty right hand of the podcast, the wind beneath my wings, Mr. John Spencer.
Heyo.
Hey-o. I wonder how the levels are, John. Hopefully, in the mean... So, we had 2 people watching this show, and then we had 1. And that's probably you.
Like it's okay right now. I'm checking the volume here.
Yeah, good. I mean, we had that one podcast where I was extremely quiet.
I'm still a little quiet apparently, but it's not too bad.
Okay, well, we can pump up the volume, dance. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the stage where Menoth John and John Spencer are dancing. Can't be bad. Can't be good. Can't be bad. You know, folks, we do this more or less every Wednesday. You know, John reached out to me this afternoon and said, hey, we doing this thing? And I was like, he goes, I'm feeling I can go either way. I'm feeling a little bit down. And then that was a dog whistle for this one. And I said, no, we are definitely doing it. Because if the co-host with the most, Mr. John Spencer, is down, and I was feeling a little down too, that's when you gotta get the positivity rolling. And what brings the positivity harder than the Painting with Menoth John show? Almost nothing. You know, 9 out of 10 dentists agree.
Cute puppies, maybe cute puppies. Cute puppies are pretty good.
Cute puppies are really solid.
I've had a lot of shitty days. I remember a shitty day at my old job. It was just a terrible day, and then some truck driver showed up. He had a little teacup Yorkie that fit in the palm of his hands. And it jumped over a little ledge, came under my monitor, started licking me in the face, and suddenly it was a great day.
And then I think that, you know, I would like the internet to think of me as its teacup Yorkie of positivity. So here we are, folks. It's Wednesday night. It doesn't appear that America is quite as on fire as it has been because at least they haven't declared states of emergency in my town or Kenosha tonight.
No, we somehow had some peaceful demonstrations in Baltimore. Don't ask me how, but
well,
trying to keep it peaceful.
It sounds like with the current. So I mean, folks, we're gonna talk about some topical stuff here for a little while.
Yeah, we have to.
And
it's the elephant in the room, most definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, unless you're living underneath a rock. You're aware that there were 4 police officers in Minneapolis that murdered a gentleman that had no reason to die, and the situation today is that the district attorney of Minneapolis, Mr. Ellison, who seems like a hell of a guy, has taken over the investigation, and they have bumped what is essentially, as I did some research, 3rd-degree murder is essentially manslaughter, and bumped it up to 2nd-degree murder, which is straight-up murder. And
That seems fair. I don't think it sounds like first degree, like premeditated or anything
no,
like that.
no,
Just, I mean,
I don't believe that guy um, like sat behind the bar and go, how can I kill a guy today? I don't think that's what was happening. But what I do believe is he had such callous disregard for human life that he murdered him, and that is the definition of second degree murder. Because my kids were asking, because that's shit you ought to be talking to your 14 and 17-year-old. Is, oh, Dad, what's the difference between first and second degree murder?
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, America. I need
Yeah.
to teach kids about murder now.
Yeah. So, and it's basically boils down to reckless disregard for human life. And from what I've seen on that video, yeah, guilty as charged.
Yeah.
But today they went ahead and they did bump it up to second degree, and they did charge the other 3 officers who figured they had nothing better to do than watch a guy die as accomplices.
And I feel for all the people who were there, because what can they do?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? Charge the cops with all their guns and then end up dead too?
Yeah, I mean, there are things you can do, but they're not things we want to have to do.
No. They did the right thing. They took video.
Yeah.
They took video. They did everything within their power, and it's because of that video, and it's because people stood up and said, "Hell no. We're not going to let this happen anymore. Black lives indeed do fucking matter."
Indeed.
And
and to explain, some people don't understand what Black Lives Matters means. It doesn't mean other lives don't matter.
No.
Because they're not just killing the other people.
Exactly. That's why there is no all lives matter. That's bullshit.
No,
that's bullshit.
That's the default. The problem is that Black lives apparently don't matter to them.
That is correct.
Need to. That's why that's the movement. It's not, the other end of racism or anything. It is the movement.
Yeah.
You focus on, this is the core of what we need to fix right now. We need to fix this racism, so we're going to do that. Then we fix the next thing. I think we're figuring out what the next thing is, which is certain police. I don't want to call everyone out. They're not all bad.
Nope.
I would even say not even most of them are bad.
Nope.
But you got the bad ones out there in force, and they are doing stupid shit everywhere.
There's a certain demographic that self-selects into that career because they get off on control. And it ain't all of them. It ain't probably, as you said, John, it probably ain't even most of them. But the ones that are there are being allowed to continue to be in that career after it has been clearly identified that they have issues. And that's the case with that chuckle fuck union leader for the Minneapolis Police Department, who sits there and says, and just makes the most asinine fucking statements. Like, there's a lot of PTSD going around, but I've killed guys and I didn't seem to have a problem. What?
I heard the best analogy related to me by my boss, also named John, who was like, you don't hear airline plans, or airline companies going, well, they crashed that plane, but it's a tough job, and sometimes you get PTSD. No, it's not okay ever.
No,
if you have PTSD, get help. Don't be in a profession that's going to lead you to act out on it. And I understand backing your boys. You've got to back your boys.
Hey, Kathy.
Until they do something so wrong that you can't anymore.
That's right.
There's a point where you're like, I love you still, man, but you're wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the difference between a good union and a corrupt, terrible union. And I've worked with some good unions, some real good unions. And without unions, the havoc that would exist in this country would be ridiculous, because companies, time and time again, prove they can't be allowed to their own designs. It just is.
Just look at all the OSHA regulations that exist. You're like, oh, that's stupid. That's common sense. Someone tried that shit.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it.
Regulation.
Do you know why? You know why they have fall restraints for? And it isn't because they're comfortable and easy to get into. It's because either people are putting up ladders that were 50 meters tall without any protection, and then they decided, we'll put cages around them. Oh no. That just means you're gonna look like a pachinko ball going down the rungs.
Yeah.
It's because you can't. You got to protect the individual who's not in a position to protect themselves.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's crazy state. One thing leads to the next, and then eventually the house of cards comes tumbling down. But maybe Maybe it's gotta.
Speaking of House of Cards, I think it'd be a great idea. The next time I need to go to the convenience store to get a gallon of milk, I'm going to go get the police. And I'm going to have them flashbang and plastic bullet and tear gas everybody in the neighborhood so I can go over and get my gallon of milk and hold a Bible and get my picture taken. Yeah, you came here for the commie talk. You came to the right place, man. You came to the right
There's
place.
things you're gonna get. It's some political thing, and you may get some tears from me. It's a very emotional thing for me right now.
I'm such a commie. I'm drinking red beer. Anyway, yeah, no, I hear you, John. It's an emotional thing for you, and that's why I thought it'd be good for us to have the show, even if we never put brush one to a model. It would give us a chance to talk and a chance to commiserate a little bit, because I think that's it's part of healing, isn't it?
It is. You got to get it out there.
Yep. So, you come for the painting, but you stay for the commie talk. That's how it is. So, anyway, hey, you know what we have? I kind of got ahead of myself, but you can't really get ahead of what just has been taking place. I'm having a beer, and I drove all the way down to Kenosha today to get my beverage of the day. It is once again from Rustic Road Brewing Company. This is a new one. This is they tapped it just today. This is a Cassis Milkshake IPA. So Cassis being a red berry, and they added a little bit of vanilla to it, and it is quite delicious. So it is it's a milkshake IPA. So it's got I think what they do is they add lactose to it during the fermentation process. So it it's a sugar. And but what it does is it gives it a really amazing mouthfeel. It's very creamy. So,
okay.
So anyway, that's what I'm having.
Well, I was going to debut something new last week. We didn't have the podcast last week.
Oh,
I
shit,
bought
sorry.
Some Dr. Pepper and cream soda mix. It's like pre-packaged. And I was like, I'll mix that with Kraken rum and it'll be good.
Yeah.
The soda by itself is the blandest blend that ever did bland.
Really?
Yes. It is. It takes the edge off of both of them at once and makes it just, it's easy drinkable if you want, dark soda that's not very strong, not a lot of aftertaste or anything. It'll work.
Yeah.
It did mix with Kraken reasonably well, but I went back to the old standby of a small Dr. Pepper and Kraken because I wasn't sure if I could drink or not.
Yep. All right. Well, in memory of Mr. Floyd, and just nothing but the best wishes and hope for his family and all his loved ones. Hey, Ron.
Ron. Well, I'm glad I put those ice cubes in there.
Goddamn tasty. Goddamn tasty. All right, folks. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about? I got a new hero, by the way. His name's James Mattis. James Mattis, as you will know, is the former
Mad Dog.
Yeah, Mad Dog Mattis. Is the former defense secretary under the Great Orange One until he got sick of his shit sufficiently to walk off the job. Bless his heart.
Yeah,
and did you read the article?
I saw a headline. I've only been briefly skimming through social media to try and prevent me from getting too emotional. So,
John, I need you to read and listen to two things tonight. I want you to find Mattis's speech, his article, and read what he had to say about the Great Orange One and his complete and utter lack of leadership and lawlessness. And then I want you to find the transcript or the recording of the talk that Barack Obama gave today.
I saw a little bit of that. It said, he's spoiling us with these complete sentences and shit.
Oh. Man, I forgot what a president sounded like. I honestly did. And folks, if you don't love Barack Obama, I don't know what your problem is, other than you're probably a racist. Because the only reason to not love Barack Obama is that you're a racist. He's classy, he's subtle, he's deliberate in his speech, and he wants people to come together. And if you are not for
him, but you should at least respect him.
Yeah,
he's a respectable man.
Yeah, you know what? I'm fine. I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. He was not perfect. He was not a perfect president. There were things he maybe could have done, and he'd be the first person to tell you that he was not perfect. he tried very, very hard, and he had a tough hand he was dealt. He dealt with a crippled economy for the first 6 years, and somehow with that economy as crippled as it was, he still got reelected. And they finally turned it around in the last 2 years. But of course, the Democrats had to nominate a ham sandwich, and
Ham sandwich did a better job.
you're not wrong. Ham sandwich had a chance against Trump, but they picked the most
Polarizing?
reviled, polarizing candidate they possibly could have done. Bunch of idiots, and ended up with this Cro-Mag in the White House, who when
I'm not sure Cro-Magnons appreciate you.
I'm sorry.
For disrespecting them. Like
I would
that.
like to apologize to everyone that has evolved into Homo sapien at this point, because I don't know what the fuck the orange one is. You look at one of my favorite pictures right now is the picture of June 1st, and the difference between June 1st in under the Obama administration and under the Trump administration, and the lights are out and Trump's hiding in the bunker, and the
I heard he was
pride.
only inspecting it. He's only
yeah,
inspecting
yeah.
it. That's
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who do you think's buying that shit? Unbelievable.
I'm scared of the people who are.
I think he's just down there checking out. He wanted to make sure he had all the shotguns down there.
So I said to my boss today, like, there are people who voted for Trump because they thought that everything against him was a smear campaign and they didn't want another career politician. They bought into the hype of not a career politician. Let's give this a shot.
Yeah.
All right, fair. You had your shot. Are you voting for him again? Because if so, now you're a piece of shit.
Man, I mean, people of Minnesota thought that Jesse Ventura was a mess.
And Jesse Ventura is a mess.
And he is.
He's
but
a hot mess.
He's a hot mess. He was a terrible governor. But
I mean,
holy shit, hold my beer.
Amusing actor at points, but crazy person.
Yeah.
Terrible governor.
Oh my God. Just a terrible governor. But Trump's like, hold my beer. Let me show you how it's done, Jesse. Anyhow. Yeah, if you're a conservative and you're in my podcast, just fucking go away. I don't want you even watching my podcast.
You could be conservative and listen to podcasts. Just if you're voting for Trump, you should probably see yourself to the door.
Fair enough. I stand corrected.
Because, I mean, there's conservatives who this isn't even what they want. This isn't what they want. In fact, if this world is what you want, the fuck out of here.
Say what you want about Joe Biden. He's had his issues too.
Yep, he does. But he seems like he actually legitimately wants to get past them and do some good.
He wants to leave this country. He wants to leave the country better than he found it.
Yeah. He's not a perfect, and I know there's people out there who are like, I won't vote for him. Well, I hope your state votes for him then, because otherwise you just tacitly voted for for Trump again.
For Trump,
what the hell?
Yeah. If you don't vote, then you're helping to perpetuate. And let me tell you, he's like this, hoping to get reelected. Wait till he has a term limit sitting in front of him. The shit you will see fall out of his mouth will be breathtaking. Oh, when have we ever had a perfect president? Never. Absolutely never. Anybody that tells you that any of these presidents were perfect people is fucking ridiculous.
I just remember presidents growing up as being respectable.
Yes.
They're all like, I don't agree with everything he's saying, but George Bush Sr., you're like, respectable. Ronald Reagan was respectable. A little eccentric at points, but respectable.
Yeah. I mean, he got better the more dementia he got. But,
now, I say this a lot. I live for like, oh man, remember the days we had George W. Bush? Weren't they so good?
I know. And that was the thing about listening to Obama speak. It's like, oh, he completed a sentence.
And then we had it better because Obama. But I'll go back to the one before him that was not good, and it would still be way better.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, Anyway, I mean, Carter was at least a good person in the wrong goddamn job.
Oh yeah, that's not a job for Carter.
No, but he was a good man.
Yeah,
And I think
he's done it. I dare say he's done more good since he was a president than he did as a president.
fair enough. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. You can certainly say that. I mean, until you get back to Nixon, who was just fucking smooth. He was Trump, but smoother. And
And respectable. He's
somehow
respectable. He kept complete sentences. Complete sentences.
I know. And then yeah, remember when people thought the VP was stupid because he misspelled potatoes? Yeah,
Let's pronounce it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow
Yeah.
potatoes was a disqualifying offense, but grabbing pussy and paying off hookers all of a sudden is all the evangelicals want.
I don't understand those people. I don't. And I tell you, I can't stomach social media right now, and because I see all the terrible. But there's a lot of great, inspiring speeches out there too. So if you can handle it, find them, listen to them, be inspired. There's people standing up, still peacefully talking to their governments, their local governments, and spelling it out from no uncertain terms.
But if you can't, then walk away
Yeah,
for a while. Just
there'll come a point. I mean, I'm not going to say this, and I'm not don't want anyone to get violent with anyone. But when nonviolence isn't working, there's only one thing left. I don't want it to come to that. Let's try all the avenues we can.
yeah.
But if it comes to that, it's going to be crazy. And be safe and be prepared.
Yeah. Anywho, so
Let's talk about games and shit before I break down again.
yeah, let's talk about games and stuff, and I'll get to painting here at some point, I'm sure. So hey, it's been a week, and or 2 weeks since we had last been together, and I have not played tabletop games since the Corona. And
what's a tabletop game?
and I went to. I didn't get to War Table yet to try it as much as we talked about it on the last show. I still think it's cool.
It is.
I need to get over there and give it a shot. But I haven't even been on the Crucible to play any Keyforge. I play Crossout with Rich, and there you go. And Kathy, seeing your stuff painted Nurgle would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, at some point I'd like to play my trolls because I think they're pretty. But
It'll get better.
yeah, it will. It seems like, well, until this happened, until the country erupted, things seem to be kind of heading in the right direction as far as the Corona going away. Ray of hope. There was a doctor I saw on television. It was not Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil. This one appeared to be have medical credentials.
Oh.
And he was talking about some of the cases that they're seeing now, that the corona may have maybe less virulent right now. So there's
it's a common thought that as the disease jumps hosts more and more, it does little things, it mutates to stay alive, and part of that is not being kicked out of the body as easily, which means you need to be less virulent. Because the less virulent you are, the less the body straight up attacks you.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, I think that's a ray of hope.
Yeah.
It sounds like
it seems like a lot of states are, and people misinterpret what it is. You're going to have more cases as things open again.
Sure.
Remember that.
Sure.
But a lot of states are not having hospitals shut down.
Yeah.
Because of too many cases.
That's Brazil.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They had 6 hospital beds to start off with, and it's like.
Yeah. So like my state, we're opening up 2 weeks after we did our stage 1 reopening. I looked at the numbers, and it was the 3rd and 4th most reported cases in 2 consecutive days on the Thursday and Friday, approximately 2 weeks after we opened up stage 1. I'm like, wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
Because that's how that happens.
So there's some rays of hope out there. I mean, from what I understand, Georgia has not turned into a complete shit show, which is encouraging because it sure had the smell of one going into it.
They rolled them dice. I'm glad they came up a good number.
Yeah, for sure.
They could have snake eyes out of that and been like, "Oh, we're sorry."
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for humanity because this one we tried everything we could to kill it, Wisconsin is coming around. We're getting better. There are 4 hot spots still in the country, and I'm still in the state, and I live in one of them. So whatever. Other than Dane County, which is amazing, Madison is not one of them, because Madison is I think the second largest city in the state, and then but the hotspots are Milwaukee, obviously very large, and Green Bay, somehow, which is a pretty small community, and then Racine and Kenosha. Racine and Kenosha, I think a lot of what we get also has to do with the amount of Chicago traffic we get, because you'll see a lot of Illinois plates in Racine and Kenosha, and you can make up all kinds of theories why that is, but I'm sure some of it has to do with dope and people coming from infected areas in Chicago delivering dope up to the, because this is Racine and Kenosha is where Wisconsin gets its dope, because it's not Milwaukee, so it's not as closely monitored by as large of a police force, and so it's yeah, Kathy gets it. So
that's, I mean, shocking for you, John, is that Baltimore City is not number 1 or number 2 in my area for cases of COVID.
that's interesting. So in Maryland, where if it's not Baltimore proper, where is it?
It's Montgomery and PG counties, which are the counties that are sort of bordering D.C.
Oh, okay. Well, probably maybe for similar reasons.
Baltimore City, Baltimore County are 3 and 4, but they are a distant 3 and 4 last I looked.
Interesting.
And my county is a very distant 5th.
So I mean, folks here at Painting with Menoth, John, we still are very heavily in the washy camp. Wash your hands. Wear that mask. If not for you, for others. Find a mask you like and wear it. Wear it proudly. And if somebody says, "Why are you wearing a mask?" you say, "Because I care about you." That's what you tell them.
God, the top 2 counties in Maryland are 27,000 cases. I don't know if the rest add to that.
Oh, John, did we miss an opportunity? Holy shit balls. This is what happens, John, when we don't do the show regular. And we were doing it regular. Painting with Menoth, John, masks.
Oh, God.
Did we fuck up?
We fucked up.
Anyway. But,
I mean, our numbers they're still fluctuating wildly, but it's on a more of a downward trend now, so.
At this point, I pretty much only watch 7-day trends. 7-day rolling averages.
I actually look at the data myself, and I make my own judgments.
Fair enough.
My boss's boss and I had some discussions about what to do, because we had guests in the office last week, and I was like, "What are we doing?" He's like, "I don't know. I didn't know they were coming. They really just want to see the operation." So since he didn't know, I brought everyone's concerns to him, and he made a great plan. He's like, "They're going to come in groups. Make sure they got masks, hand sanitizer, bring them right to the room, move everyone whose desk is in that area away so that they're not near anyone. We take them out, make sure people aren't at their desks." They did a great job. I was very pleased with that.
Very cool.
So, weren't we going to talk about games and stuff?
Yeah, we were, and then we got sidetracked by the corona.
Yeah. I haven't played a miniature game or anything in a while. Okay. I stopped trying to get my roommate to play them because he's apparently not interested right now.
Good. Fair. We can talk about a game that's on Kickstarter right now. Yeah, I blame Nurgle too. It's okay to blame Papa Nurgle. The Nemesis Lockdown is on Kickstarter now, and it is a gajillion dollars they've made so far.
It is the first. I typed Kick S into Google, and the first thing was Nemesis Lockdown on Kickstarter.
Yeah. So you can, as a part of this Kickstarter, get the original game too. It's a good game. Kathy, when all this ends, we should probably get together to play Nemesis. I think it would be super fun for you and James to come up to Wisconsin and play some Nemesis with us, because the rest of the Misfits with you. The first game, Nemesis, is basically Alien the game, and takes place on a ship, and you play as a character. You have unique, you have a deck of cards that helps determine what you can and cannot do, and the cards are essentially like action points. And you're going through the ship, and aliens are popping out of it, and you can play it as a full cooperative, or you can play it as a cooperative fuck your neighbor, where you have potentially an objective that is at the expense of your fellow crewmates. So it's
Thanks, Ash.
Yeah, exactly. And it provides I've played it 3 times, and it has provided the most cinematic endings. Like, for instance, we were playing the last time I played, I was playing with my girlfriend and my 2 boys, and we had to basically, all they had to do was kind of get to the escape pods, and we were going to win the game. And Chuck, for the shit of it, rolled a goddamn grenade off into one of the rooms, and all the aliens came out of everywhere. All he had to do was be quiet. All he had to do was sneak from room to room, and we'd just win. And it ended up happening that I had to sacrifice myself to the aliens so that the other people, they threw this drone thing in to attract all the aliens to me. And as I died, they all made it to the escape pods and were able to get out and win. And it's stuff like that just makes that game. It's a bit like Zombicide. It is more complicated than Zombicide, but I think it's more satisfying than Zombicide.
It's got 14 days to go. It's probably going to be okay. The all-in pledge, which seems to be the best one because you get, I mean, it's all in. You get everything.
If you don't have Nemesis.
Yeah, if you don't have the original set. Yeah, you get the original set and all of the expansion, it looks like, is about $300, which is not terrible.
Yeah. There was a time that my version of the game, the one that I have, which is the Kickstarter version that was pre-painted, was going for $350 plus on eBay. It was ridiculous. They're not even offering a pre-painted version of this one.
No,
so.
But it's not a bad price for an all-in game like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a consistent group, guys, take a look at it.
It is
like
terrific.
It's pretty cool.
It is terrific.
Put a remind me so as it gets closer, I can check the funds and see what the funds look like.
Sure. Lockdown is, rather than taking place on a non-IP infringing Nostromo, is a non-IP infringing Doom Mars colony.
And it's got there's a cool Mars rover model too. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's one of the stretch goals, and it's really good. So one of the stretch goals, I think I painted it on the show, was this from Nemesis was Space Kitty, and Space Cat I painted on the show, and that's actually the first player token, and so we've been talking about it. The kids now that virtual school is over with. I'm going to try and get the kids to, and I need my job to give its balls a tug. Holy shit, I'm so busy right now. I have meetings from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, solid.
That's because people realize how easy it is just to get in a Zoom meeting.
Oh, it's so rough. But we got a lot of projects going on right now. And
well, I mean, it's planning phase, right? You guys are planning everything now so that when it comes time, you can just hit the button and execute, and people are going to be flying all over the place doing all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, and there's a lot of, I mean, the actual construction of a roasting plant it's a lot of work. It's a big deal, but the planning that goes in beforehand is pretty epic, and that's my job. I mean, that's what I do. I do the planning and design.
So you're Hannibal from the A-Team? That's awesome. He's my spirit animal.
I'm not that cool. But
you can't be that cool. You're that cool in my mind, John.
Aw, thanks. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you like having fun, Nemesis Lockdown is available, and you can get the original game, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is super cool. I love it when they reprint the original. What else can we talk about game news?
By the way, Dice Tower does a walkthrough of Lockdown in case you want to see how the gameplay works. If you can
I love
stand,
Dice Tower for a quick review.
if you can
I'll definitely
stand
do.
the Dice Tower for that long.
Yeah, they're a little off, but I like getting a good overview of a game before you pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
God bless them for that. GW just announced, like, I'm sure you heard, new version of 40K and
Yeah.
details starting to leak, and it seems like an improvement. Seems like a lot of the vague rumors I heard from people are maybe not be as bad as they sound. Seems like they're doing some interesting work on it. I'm waiting for something concrete to come into my hands so I
Can
can read it.
Can you tell me what you know that's different about it?
So the rumors I've heard is they're going to do a lot about command points, and you haven't played the game at all. I think you have some models, but haven't really read the rules or anything.
Yeah, I've watched people to play it on the YouTubes all the time though.
So you saw what they do with command points, and they're spending them willy nilly, and it's impossible to keep track of what's going on with them.
Yep. Yep, I understand.
So I think, from what I hear, they're going to make it more even the amount of command points you get army to army. It's not going to be like, oh, I made this super min-maxed army, so I've got all the command points, and
Yeah.
then every time I spend one, I can roll 3 times to see if I get it back.
Right. I
Every
remember
time you
seeing
spend one, I can see if I get it. They're toning that shit down, and they're toning. I think I don't know how many command points they're giving you, but I think there's gonna be a phase where you spend most of your command points, and not as many things you spend outside of that phase. There's
That's
a
good.
command phase. Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good.
I'm hoping it plans out because command points are the thing I'm most interested in because it's the most divisive part of the game. It is very cool to have those abilities when you need them, but it is even in my AdMech army and my army of knights. There are too many for me to keep track of. I have to have cards and slow the game down. Like, hold on. Oh, I could use this. Do I want to use this? And they're not equal. It's like one command point does not equal one command point does not equal one command point. Sometimes it's like that's not worth one command point ever. Other times, like, of course I spend 3 command points on that. It's the best thing ever.
Right. And some of the armies, I know it's not. I know that 40K is not based around being the most balanced of all games, but I know that has helped unbalance some of the different armies against each other too.
Indeed. So sounds like they're working on that. It also sounds like instead of you holding stuff at the end of your turn to get your victory points, you've got to hold it during your command phase at the beginning of your turn. So you can't just take it. You got to take it and hold it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a very interesting and a very cool idea for changing up the game. And from what I hear, and this is just vague, like I said, I'm not on social media right this second. I'm going to wait for some people to give me some more detailed notes, but it sounds a lot like they're changing up the scenarios to make them more interesting, better secondary goals. Because I'll be honest, between Age of Sigmar and 40K, GW has a great game on their hands. Unfortunately, everything that's broken in one is better in the other for the most part, and they're not doing enough in my mind to make them like each other enough.
Okay.
And there are parts of Age of Sigmar that I think are truly great, and parts that are absolute balls. And for all Age of Sigmar players, I don't care if you love the potential of double turns. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it unbalances things because if
It doesn't balance it. It is something you can play for, and if it exists, that's fine. I will play it occasionally with it existing, but it does not mean I have to like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, in that kind of a game where you move your whole army and activate your whole army, having the ability to go 2 turns in a row really screws things up.
Yep, because if you play for it, if you go like, I'm just going to roll the dice and play for the double turn, you get the double turn, you win the game.
You probably just won, yeah.
I've had ones where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I have to take a hit on this unit to lure up in your model so that I can, maybe I tank it a little bit, and then my next unit gets to come in and murder your model, and then I won the roll for the double turn, and I'm like, never mind, my model will go in, and I'm just going to murder your thing.
Well, I mean, let's talk about War Machine, a game that we've all played. Think about the time lock feats that we've always talked about. Think about Haley, where we thought, well, that's broken and screwed up. We can't allow that to exist. Well,
Yep.
What's the difference between that and a double turn? It's essentially a double turn.
Very little. All you can do is pull your forces back and hope you get good defensive positions potentially, and not all boards cater to that.
Nope.
So I'm interested to see what they do. I hope it sounds like the command phase and all is going to make it seem a little more like Age of Sigmar. That's one of the good things is they really tone down the command points in Age of Sigmar. You get very few, and you don't have a ton of stuff to spend them on, but they're still effective. They're still important parts of the game.
Yep, and it's a way of adding a little bit of flavor too
Yes,
to the
like
game.
I'm going to play this theme force because first off, you're in a theme. I think some of them give you extra command points,
Mm-hmm.
and then they give you abilities you can spend command points on. Like, oh, I don't like the normal one. I want the one where I can run and charge. Well,
Yep.
that's super cool.
Exactly,
Uh,
and it gives you a reason to build a particular army of a particular
mhm.
flavor too.
But there's other things in Age of Sigmar that are not working as well. So I want to see a good balance between the two. Honestly, I like that they figured out their niche. They're going to do a moderate amount of rebalancing on a yearly basis, and then FAQs I think every 6 months, and that's their balancing, and it should be good enough to keep the game a good casual game. And yes, people are going to play competitively. People are going to play anything competitively. I'm sure there's competitive Monopoly tournaments out there, but I wouldn't play in them. If that's your thing, it's going to be what it is. It's a Games Workshop game. The community is going to come together, make some bolt-on rules set to make it more competitive, and that's how it's going to be.
That's kind of how it's always been.
It is how it's always been. I mean, honestly, the more standalone you make the game, the better it is in a tournament. I mean, there's a lot of games where they add a bolt-on to it for tournaments, and you don't need that bolt-on. It'll run fine on its own. You
Cool.
know, and I think that's probably an important point of difference between a good game and a great game. I mean, I don't think. Now, my opinion, I would say what we call edition 3.5 of 40K, maybe fourth edition, one of those in that area. The third edition with all the White Dwarf articles to fix it, or the fourth edition which came right afterwards, were probably the best versions of the game. I felt like they could be played, and now this is my rose-colored glasses, either way, and it'd be fine. You could play in a tournament with the straight rules out of the book. You could play it casual with straight rules out of the book. And they were supporting both sides, which is cool. I mean, we used to go into the battle bunker, and immediately the first thing we do is we get four guys together, we find a board, and we're playing King of the Hill with four people.
Sure.
And it was super fun. We had a lot of stuff where, like Not Brushhead Dave would rush up with his Nurgle Marines, and he'd pop his Rhino on one side, shoot the other way, and let the Rhino make it like, do I want to waste all this fire on a Rhino to maybe destroy it so I shoot the guys on the side, or do I go to the guy to my other side? There's a lot to that. It's very enjoyable. And I think that's the sign of a good game is being able to play it. If you can play it with more than just two players, it starts to become really interesting. As long as you guys play it fairly. I mean, in any of those games, there's going to be a kingmaker phase where you decide, I can't win. Who am I going to let win? I mean, it's always happens. Any of those games.
Yep.
Last time I played Evil Baby Orphanage, it was like that. My cousin John was like, do I let my son win or do I let my cousin John win? He's like, I'm going to pop back to my cousin John and let him win. I mean, at that point, at least you control the fate.
Yeah. Cool.
So. But
Here we-
looking forward to that, see how that goes. Surprising, GW is pretty all in on it. Announced it even during lockdown. Most of their game companies are very light. I'm sure they're. I mean, I hope they haven't laid off all their people. I hope it's just them spending quality design time and doing what they can with it. But I know the reality is some of those guys got laid off,
Oh yeah, they had to have.
and it's
Heck.
too bad. But I mean, it's reality of COVID time.
Heavens, I mean, half these game companies are have one foot in the grave as it stands.
Yeah, it's a tough business to be in. I hope everyone thinks about that, and when they come back, listen to what they're putting out there from their listen to their media streams, see what they're putting out after they're back, and see what they need to keep going. Hopefully, they be a little honest about it, like, hey guys, we got a bunch of stuff coming out, help us out.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't heard. I haven't been paying attention to Privateer for so long. I'm not sure what they got coming out or don't have coming out.
I got an email from them. I just deleted it. I don't really. More so right now, I don't really care. I mean, I have a hard time keeping focused as it is. It's a tough time to be a in-person gamer. I mean, even my miniature game, and my role playing game, we played it once over Roll20 and Discord. It was interesting. I bowed out on Monday because I was not in a mind frame where I could play.
Fair enough.
Also, I mean, if it was an in person game, I probably would have made the trek and gone
Mm-hmm.
if we were in person. But I just couldn't.
No, that's fine. It's good to know what you can and cannot do, man.
I mean, as a wise man once said, man's got to know his limitations.
Yeah, that's right.
30 Does 30 Harry count as a wise man?
Yes,
Okay.
without
But,
question.
yeah. So there's that. You just got to keep going, try and keep motivated however you can. I think funny, we had the How to Keep Motivated podcast for More Than Dice a couple weeks ago, and now I'm like, can we have it again? I need some advice.
Yeah.
Closing in on. I mean, I got plenty of stuff I can do. Like everyone's like, are you going to run out of models? Like, no,
No,
I'm not going to run out of
that's
models.
not the problem.
No, I got models for days. I can paint. It's just the motivation, you know. Like I can paint all this stuff, but when am I going to get to play it?
Yeah, I think that's an awful lot of why this hooch hauler's not done either.
Yeah, I mean, when do you get to play it? I mean, it's fun to paint, and I do enjoy painting, and I'm still painting. But at a certain point, you're like, when am I going to get to play it?
I'd be lying to say that painting, having a list I want this to be in is a huge motivation for getting it done. And hell, even if the COVID wasn't a problem, the hooch hauler's not. It's a big investment in points, and it plays best with a caster that is somewhat suspect.
Yeah, it's weird how much they go trying to balance everything, and I mean, there's no way to balance everything. It's just the story of a game. I think the closest you get are the smaller games that are just starting up, you know, like an early Malifaux, you know, Marvel Crisis Protocol. Maybe now, maybe not with all the stuff that's come out. Eventually, models just fall by the wayside.
Yep.
You know, I think of what DC said. You know, he mentioned how he wants his heroes to be more than, you know, a weird blast and all. Well, I don't necessarily agree with the entire, you know, phrasing of that. I agree that like Iron Man may be the biggest character who doesn't feel like Iron Man, but I feel like in combat, Iron Man's not. That's not what makes Iron Man special. You know,
Sure.
that never was. It was always everything else made him special. So interesting. I'll see. I mean, I painted up Vision. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of all you guys can see him and all, but here's Vision coming along.
He's harder to see than your big head.
I mean, most things are. He's also a little close to the camera, I guess. That's probably a little better.
Yeah.
He's coming along. Needs a little work.
Yep.
But, I mean, I don't know how he plays, but we'll see. He's kind of interesting. I got Star-Lord over here. The Hulk's almost done. I mean, we're coming along. Looking forward to playing some games. Maybe I can convince the roomie to play. Though with a new computer, I think I know what he's going to be playing. Not that I'm going to say anything right now. That's pretty much what I'm doing is keeping the hobby streak up. And because, I mean, I do enjoy painting still, and it keeps me motivated. It's a good motivating factor to keep the streak alive. And then play MechWarrior Online, which I'm enjoying the crap out of still.
Yep. And for me, I'm still playing the hell out of Crossout.
And isn't it like you enjoy it when you're playing by yourself, but when you get Rich in there?
Oh, I can't play the game by myself. It's all about playing
No?
with Rich.
No. I can still play the game by myself, but I really enjoy it when I get Gonzo or Immortan Joe or Banyan to jump in with me.
Yeah, it changes the whole perspective of the game. I mean, I do. You know what? It is fun to sometimes play, but for me, it's Rich and Dan and those and
You want your
that's
boys. You want your crew.
that's how I stay in touch with my boys.
Well, there's like even, I'm outspoken enough because since I have a microphone and I am a podcaster, I use the microphone in the game. And I got new players who like ask questions. I answer them when I can,
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys is like, "Oh, hey, what's your name again?" I'm like, "I'm John." And then next thing you know, I got a friend request. I'm like, "Oh, cool." I tell him like, "Hey, when we get our group together and you're on, we'll pop you in the group and we'll get a little 4-person group. It's good to know who's playing with you, so you know someone's going to listen when you say we need to do this."
Yep, exactly.
But I'm enjoying it. I would say I'm not terrible at it anymore, but I'm definitely not great.
John, we got Adepticon.
I have never been to Adepticon.
Okay, so the answer is no. Artemis, in case you don't know, is a bridge simulator. It is. Everybody has
Oh,
a station, and you.
you said bridge simulator. I'm like, why not just play bridge?
There you
The
go.
deck of cards.
No, like a starship bridge.
I know. I
And
figured.
I'm going to tell you what it is. So we figured out how to set up a server so that we can play across the internets. And if you're interested, the client costs $7 on Steam, and
That's not bad at all.
it is terrific fun. We've had the most fun cinematic experiences with this game even already. And you've got you got a captain who's giving out orders, and you've got helm, you've got weapons, you've got engineering, and it is terrific fun.
Yeah, it's cool. I will give it a look. See.
Give it a look.
I
See.
think I'm only got the space for one game right this moment
That's
because
fair.
you know how I am. I get all in on something.
Oh yeah, we've only been playing. We only play like, gosh, we played on Sunday. We played a couple Sundays earlier. It's not something we do all the time, but if you are interested, let us know, and we'll add you to to our little Facebook Messenger group so that we can get a hold of you and stuff.
Yeah,
And it's
keep in mind.
amazing
Already on my list here.
when you when you
Artemis.
turn up the difficulty on it. I'm going to tell you what it turns up the difficulty on it.
Oh,
But it's not that it's like it's goofy fun even when you're losing.
it's funny. I have an interesting perspective on games since I've been playing a lot of MechWarrior Online. And let's be honest, I don't have a winning record, but I think most people coming into the game their first month and a half should not have a winning record unless you're very good at these games inherently.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the first couple games, I'm not going to say I was a boon to my team. I was present. Maybe I took fire so someone else didn't have to.
Sure.
Maybe. But, as you get better, you feel like you are. So, I mean, I have a look. Everyone's like, oh, that was a stomp. I'm like, that wasn't a stomp. But they have a bunch of mechs that are really, really damaged, and we just didn't get the right fire on the right guy at the right time.
Yep.
I've always been big on looking for the actual cause of that stuff.
Sure.
Back from the War Machine, like, I lost because of dice. You did not lose because of dice.
No.
Your dice didn't help you, but you rolled average or better. They just didn't come out when you needed them to come out, and sometimes that shit happens.
Yep, for sure.
Sometimes RNG happens. Sometimes you fire Ultra Autocannon, and when you go to double tap it, the second shot jams it 5 out of 6 times in a game. That happened to me. I was very pissed. Like, for the love of God, why are you first time jam? Fuck you. It was terrible. And sometimes you go through a game and it jams at a moment where you're like, yeah, I didn't really need a second shot. I'm about to duck into cover anyways. It would have been nice, but fuck, I don't care. I got time to let it unjam. RNG's a thing.
Indeed.
But I'm enjoying it. When they have the events, I feel like I can perform every single part of it. So it requires like my best game, but every time they've had an event, I've managed to get a 500 match score, which is pretty good, which is usually one of the objectives for those. So, I mean, I feel good. The hardest was getting the 100 kills because I am a support guy because I will do what the team needs, and I don't always get the kills myself. And I tell you, when we were trying, the last event ended Monday. Last Friday, I had the day off. Last Friday I came home after work, and I'm trying, and me and Joe are playing games. I'm just not getting kills, so I switched to my big Fafnir. First game I didn't kill. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I just need a couple more kills. And then I go on a tear on a board, and I'm like, oh, light mech charge me. Plam, plam, he's dead. Then it's like, I need help. Plam, that guy's dead. Plam, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
Plam, that guy's dead. And I got 5 kills. Got a title for, got a objective for it, and finished all my kills. It felt great. It was super fun. Sometimes it's nice playing the biggest, baddest guy with 2 of the biggest, baddest guns in the game and just going, it's late game because I'm slow, and now I'm going to walk around and murder everyone who's hurt.
Yeah. We had there's a design that Rich came up with in Crossout it's good. It's a very good build. But when you're running 3 identical versions of it, we're like murder hornets descending on people.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of to be said about team play. If you guys are good, you can really do some work.
Yep.
Like I noticed last night we were playing, and there's this group, and it's hard to tell necessarily who's on a team just from looking at it.
Yep.
But they put teams in their own lances, so I'm like, well, there's three guys from this group because you can have groups in this lance. There's at least three guys in this lance, and there's one guy in another lance. There's at least five of these guys. And sometimes they just get these teams together and they do horrific shit to all of us
Yep.
who are wandering around on our own. And it's fine. It is what it is. I'm not like upset. It's a fucking game. I still generally, have a good time. Do what I can. Yeah, generally having fun.
Cool, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I've been told that it's in a maintenance cycle. It's no longer a big deal. I'm like, I don't care if it's a big deal. I'm not into play a big deal. It's BattleTech. I like it. And honestly, I'm sure they're either working on an upgraded version to get more money. There'll be some transfer over or what have you. There'll be something to get people back into it. As long as there's still people playing it, they're looking at it, find ways to make money off of it. And for a free game, you get a lot of the money you put into it, I feel. And I've played it. I probably paid about as much as I would, not counting the gifts I've given a couple buddies. Not as much as I would for a AAA game, and I feel like I'm getting AAA game quality out of it.
Yeah, I've paid more than a AAA game for Crossout, and I have gotten more than a AAA game worth of fun out of it.
And then my buddy Joe had bought me the Fafnir mech, and I'm like, this is cool. I'll buy stuff occasionally with real money. Most of the time, I buy within-game stuff.
Sure.
They have a sale. I look at it. I'm like, oh hey, here's the Solaris 7 pack. I don't really play Solaris 7 because that's 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 matches, and I'm a detriment in those. I'm not quite a 1-on-1 guy.
Sure.
Because I'm a team player. Let's be honest. I made a rifleman mech that had three sort of mid to long range autocannons, and I would just keep people's heads down. I'm not expecting to kill anyone with these guys. It takes a lot of fire to kill somebody with these guys. But I would just sit there and just be like, and they're getting cockpit shake, and it's just like, where's all that fire coming from? I drive people back. There are games where I'm like, I did a moderate amount of damage and then got killed, but I felt like I kept guys off of back or kept people off a flank or something. I feel like I impacted the game. I'm okay with that. I'm the guy, if you're playing, you're like, we need to take this point. If John's anywhere near that point, John's going to that point with you.
Yeah, and that's a good feeling.
Player. Yeah. Hey, Legionnaires, yeah. I was on a murder spree that game. That is the most kills I've gotten in a game, being 5. And it was super cool. It was just fun to, walk around and be like literally I would target somebody with fire and they would just die. And I'm like, oh, this is a great feeling. I got like 3 in a row with that. I'm like, and you, whoa, and this guy, boom, all right, he's dead too. How about this guy? That's fun. And I don't actually even mind playing I know a lot of people don't like playing the supporty type stuff. I don't mind playing the supporty type stuff. I have this mech called a Corsair, which I'd never seen before, because I think it's from the Dark Age timeline of mechware, which is future from where I've experienced with. And it looks like an orc mech. Apparently it's like a periphery, piratey type mech. I mean, it looks like the orcs made a battle mech. And it's got 4 anti-missile systems and some lasers and a couple guns. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to win a lot of one-on-one fights. In fact, ton for ton against a similarly ton mech, I'm not going to win a lot of fights. But I'm going to shoot down all of the missiles in my general vicinity. All of them. Like, I was walking in another game, like, someone's like, missile warning. I'm like, you firing missiles at me? Do you think that's wise? Because, oh, look, they're all gone.
Yep.
Because I have 4 anti-missile systems, because anything worth doing right is worth doing 4 times right.
That's right. Cool.
But yeah, as you can tell by my excitement, I still enjoy the crap out of it.
No, and that's good. We all need something to kind of get us through these trying times.
Yeah, and we all have our game of choice. I love that it's ostensibly free to pay. I could go I don't feel like putting any more money into it. I won't have to. I have enough mechs that need anything I need to do with those mechs can be done with in-game currency, and you can build in-game currency well. They're doing a good job. I feel like they do a good job of making it feel like you can do something without paying money. Now, granted, some of the mechs you want are going to cost you real money, but what's what's a $10 once in a while? Like, I really want this guy. Well, pay $10 and get him.
Yep,
You
exactly.
really want him? What the hell?
Yep, exactly.
I got John. Are you familiar with BattleTech a little bit?
A little bit.
Do you know what an urban mech is?
I've heard of them.
The urban mech is basically R2D2 with an angry gun.
Okay.
He is a trash, basically R2D2 shaped.
Okay.
He's got a little laser on one side and a big autocannon on the other one. He is slow as balls, like literally the slowest mech in the game.
Okay.
But he's only 30 tons, so he's relatively light.
Yeah.
And they're designed to be super cheap, garrison worlds, and fight in the city, hence why they're called an urban mech.
Got it.
Now, the urban mech is the meme. It is the meme mech. And you can play an urban mech, and you can upgrade the urban mech. And the one hero they have is called the urban mech K9.
Okay.
And he has a police paint scheme, and he has bar lights on top.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there is a button you press to turn the bar lights on.
That's awesome.
And the siren goes on. Wee, 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 wee.
That's hilarious.
I don't know how good it's going to be, but I'm going to enjoy the crap out of running around faster than an urban mech generally does, and flash my lights to distract the opponents. Like, what the hell is that? And then I'm going to shoot them with with a pop gun or some lasers.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a hoot. A hoot.
Well, that's exactly as much painting as I'm going to do tonight.
I mean, it's more than me. This is my hobby streak, talking about painting and having a podcast. I'll be honest, guys. If you're doing a hobby streak, podcasting counts as hobbying, for fuck's sake.
I got a little pink on it, which I feel good about.
You have to represent. Have to.
It's good to get some pink on the thing. Here we go. Let's get this back over here.
I love just having a color throughout the army. If you have like an army like that, just one color makes all the difference.
Yeah, the pink on my trolls makes them really stand out.
Now we're going to talk about stuff. I need to get out my notebook because I decided I was not doing enough justice. With this whole watching Clone Wars stuff. So I am writing down the episodes of what I think of them.
Okay, so I will start off though real quick with what I think is the biggest revelation for me in the HBO Max, because HBO now transformed into HBO Max. I think it was this week or last week, and HBO Max. I mean, HBO itself was fine, I guess, if you like HBO, but when they added HBO Max, I don't know what the hell catalog they hit. But they have the best selection of Rubber Suit Godzilla movies available. There is, for instance, Destroy All Monsters. They have the Smog Monster movie. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about tonight is two movies that I watched so far. One is Destroy All Monsters. And the other one was Godzilla versus Hedorah, which is the Smog Monster. I'm not sure, but I think that Godzilla vs. Hedorah might be my favorite Godzilla movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's so for those of you who don't know, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, which is the Smog Monster as it was known in the United States, was in the late 60s, and it had a very, very, very strong environmental message to it. Essentially, the Smog Monster was born out of sludge and toxic waste and nonsense. And he's discovered, and any of the mud or sludge that comes off him is like super toxic and burns your skin and all this kind of stuff. And it's a good guy Godzilla movie, which are always my favorites.
Yeah, I mean Godzilla after his initial one, I think Godzilla is ostensibly a good guy. After the when you get past the Tales of Atomic Horror, which is the first one, is sort of about. I think they went in a good direction when they made him a good guy. Yep.
So he's a good guy. I think ostensibly the only other bad guy Godzilla movie is Mothra. Because Mothra is ostensibly the kind of the ultimate good guy from that universe.
I'll bring up something after you're done.
Okay. So Smog monster. He's toxic. He's born from. He's taking the deep hits off the factories. The he's ripping them strong off the tops of factories. It's got this goofy like animation scenes every now and again that are showing Hedera, being this toxic thing that's killing everything in its path, and it's got your typical rubber suit monster. Call him Itchy, call him Charlie, call him whatever name you want to have the child's name, who is on point with who's way ahead of the game from any of the scientists working on this thing, and he's this is another one of those movies where Godzilla is the friend of all children, and we always like those movies.
My favorite is Godzilla and Jaguar. I don't know why. Is it a good one? I don't think so. Amuses the fuck out of me.
Oh, absolutely. So it's got a really goofy like 1960s psychedelic dance scenes, and these kids are all dancing and stuff, and it's really fun. And how does it win? Well, the humans figure out how to kill the smog monster using electricity, but they can't pull it off. And Godzilla saves the day by using his atomic breath to shoot the copper electrodes and cause lightning to happen. And we all know from Godzilla versus King Kong, he's immune to electricity. So he basically burns down the smog monster, punches into his head, and pulls out these egg things that they're never really clear as far as what they are. But he fries those with electricity too, and ends up winning the day. So yay Godzilla, yay smog monster. It's a solid shot of Kraken, probably two, because you're celebrating Rubber Suit Godzilla. Why wouldn't you have a couple shots of Kraken? It's a lovely little show. Recommend it. And John, we got to have a little talk about the credentials. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna. Anyway, so the. So that's one of them that I watched. You can talk about a thing, and then I'll talk about the other.
Well, what I bring up is I don't remember. Did we talk about? Have you seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, and did we talk about it?
King of the Monsters is essentially Destroy All Monsters, just better production values.
I would say probably a bit more of humans in it too. But I'm curious. I don't know if I remember what your opinion of was.
I liked it. I liked it very much.
Yes,
I liked it very, very much. It's. I thought it was better than the first of the Reborn Godzilla movies.
I haven't seen that one still.
Yeah, no, it's okay, but that's not a shit show either.
It's just I've heard decent things, but I heard like it's not a lot of Godzilla. And I'm like, I really want a lot of Godzilla.
No,
and I feel like King of the Monsters definitely did that. It had some cool stuff. Plus, the love they gave to the old stuff, the nods they make, the Oxygen Destroyer, just all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
they're just like, the people making that movie love Godzilla.
Have you ever seen Shin Godzilla?
No, I have not.
Oh, Shin Godzilla is legit fucking Godzilla. It is really, really good. It is on King of the Monsters level good.
Cool. Yeah, but I want to make sure we gave a shout out of that because I've noticed it started playing for free on some things, and it's cheap rental now. People are interested in it. I suggest it. I even go so far as suggest the soundtrack because the soundtrack is good. It's Bear McCreary from Battlestar Galactica reboot fame. Plus, they get Serge Tarkin from System of a Down to do that remake of the old Blue Oyster Cult Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's a really good version. They played over the credits. It is amazing over the credits, and it's solid by itself. It's legit. Definitely check that out, guys. And they're still going forward with Godzilla versus King Kong, even though apparently Godzilla King of the Monsters underperformed at the theater. But I think we're going to see the theater start to make a little recession there and not go away. And it's going to be a lot more stream movies directly to your home now. Yeah,
well, I mean, AMC just came out today and is they're talking about how they don't think they're going to survive this.
Well, I mean, I hate to see the theaters go away because there are movies you must see in the theater.
Yep.
Sci-fi fair, James Cameron goes, here's the next Avatar. You got to see that shit in the theater. I saw Avatar on the regular screen because I wasn't gonna get full effect because I don't see 3D stuff with 3D glasses because my eyes are crazy. That's
Yeah.
just it.
Mhm.
But I still feel like if I'd seen a non 3D version, it would have been significantly better than just seeing it on the TV.
Yeah. No, agreed.
So I hope that they all don't go completely away because there are movies that have to. But I think you're going to see stuff like, like a No Country for Old Men, that kind of movie. Go straight to watch it on your home TV. You don't need big screen experience for that. You don't. I don't feel like you gain as much. The gain to cost ratio is not as high with that as something. So go ahead and hit me up with number 2 Godzilla feature.
Okay, I'll hit you up with that. That it was Destroy All Monsters, and to be honest with you, Destroy All Monsters is kind of the movie that really made Rubber Suit Godzilla kind of give me a certain level of mystique to me as a child. Destroy All Monsters is the ultimate monster kind of team up movie. Everybody's in it. Everybody's in it. You got Godzilla. You got Mothra. You got Ghidorah. You've got Bagheera. You've got and they're all chilling like a villain on Monster Island, under control, until the aliens show up, who are always silver outfit wearing females, because that in space all aliens are females. Men are from Mars, women are apparently from whatever the fuck Japanese science fiction planet they're from.
I'm glad you didn't give me too much of a pause. I was going to make a Uranus joke.
Only if you're lucky. Anyway, so there. So spit take the co-host.
Not quite, almost.
Anyway, so the girls show up, and they put the poison gas on the people in the island who are controlling the monsters, and they take control of the monsters, and they're fucking up the world because they want to colonize, and there's a group of the Japanese who are on the moon, and they've got essentially they've stolen Thunderbird 1, and they're flying around between Mars and the Earth in non-IP infringing Thunderbird 1.
How has that not been a actual crossover?
It's begging for some Super Mario Nation. That'd be some amazing stuff. From what? Oh, by the way, on an unrelated subject, I've heard the Thunderbirds game is actually pretty good. The board game, it's made by the same guy that did Pandemic. It's essentially Thunderbirds reskinned Pandemic. But
that might be what it needs because Pandemic's a little downer. Maybe I don't know.
Pandemic is insanely difficult. It's
also a table general game that I hate because someone could be like, "You need to go here, do this, and this." I'm like, I don't want. All right, it's when I need to win the game, but I don't feel like I'm contributing anymore.
Yeah, So this will shock the world. I have a tendency to want to be that guy, but I work really hard not to be.
So I learned early on, and this is funny, in a game of Starfleet battles in 1993-ish.
Yeah.
That people look to me to give them tactical advice, and I'm like, oh no, we made you in command. You make the decisions. I follow out your orders. He's like, but I'm like, this is what we just.
That's where Nemesis is really cool, because when I role play Nemesis, and it's like.
Well, it's like Zombicide. You got to role play it.
Yep. It's the only way to play Zombicide. See, and you gotta role play Nemesis, because then I refuse to lay out tactics for people, which is why Chuck got away with rolling that grenade, and it's like, he did it, and I said, I am so angry with you. I'm so angry with you, but you did it, and now we're gonna live with the consequences. But when we all die, remember, this is your fault.
Yep. Prepare for your guilt.
Yeah. But anyway, Destroy All Monsters is it's a tour de force. It has all the good stuff. You've got the heroic. You've got the heroic guy that's driving around in Thunderbird 1. You've got the his love interest who has been taken over by the aliens, and and at the end they break the curse and they break out and they win the day and the monsters are all returned to Monster Island, which I think is kind of a bummer for the monsters because they ended up being but they do mention that they're very well taken care of on Monster Island. They have plenty to eat. They get along well.
Have to make it positive, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looked like they were getting them high, to be honest, because they would come out and they did like shoot smoke at them, and then they would be like, "Oh, they're all docile and stuff." I think they're pretty much just giving them super serious rips, and that's how they kept them. The one that I loved was Rodan. So like, how do you keep Rodan down? You know, Rodan's like just flying around fucking shit up. Well, they put some electromagnetic force generators that caused him to not be able to fly away. So it's like Wi-Fi is the thing that they get exactly monster grade catnip. They use Wi-Fi to hold Rodan. See, that's the 5G shit, man. That's why people are tearing down those.
Holds Rodan in place.
Yeah, that's right. 5G is like not only does it cause COVID, it also is causing Rodan not to be able to get off Monster Island. It's like a double whammy.
I mean, rally against the 5G.
That's what 5G stands for. 5 goddamn monsters can't get off that island because of that fucking 5G. Before that, when the 4G, you could only keep 4 monsters on Monster Island. Now you got 5 goddamn monsters.
Oh my!
All right, man. Talk to me about Clone Wars. What have you watched?
All right, Clone Wars. So season 2, I actually just laid out all of it. What was this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. I have 13 episodes, and I'm halfway through the season.
All right.
I talked about the Holocron Heist, Cargo of Doom, Children of the Force, but what I didn't elaborate in is that while the first episode was a little meh, because in order for Cad Bane to seem like he was badass, the heroes had to be a little stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little problem. And then between that and Cargo of Doom, he captures his Jedi Master and all this shit completely off screen, which is a sign of bad writing. You know, it's like, they want to get from point A to point B, but they don't know how to do it, so they do that. And I'm like, that's kind of shit writing. But then from Cargo Doom to Children of the Force is a direct line, and Children of the Force felt more like Star Wars than anything prior to it in Clone Wars.
And if I remember
all
right,
the characters. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And if I remember right, Children of the Force, it's called Children of the Force, right?
Yeah.
Is where they've stolen the holocron and now they're starting to kidnap the kids.
Yes.
Okay.
It felt Star Wars because all the characters are involved. They're all going around doing stuff together, and they packed a lot of it. It moved like Star Wars.
Cool.
So while I give the overall trilogy of them 2.5 shots of Kraken, I would probably give Children of the Force 1, and then they lose a lot for that not making a 4th episode, which shows him getting the Jedi. It could have been cool.
Got it.
Then the next is like a solid chronological order grouping of the Senate Spy, which is sort of a shoehorning Padme into a leading role in there. Where she has the ex-romance with this other senator, even though she wasn't that old. Now, I'm not going to think about it anymore. Where they find out about the droid factory.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 are about the droid factory, which were okay, though I'm a little, like, we've got this indestructible tank. Like, that's bullshit. You do not just suddenly have a tank that's indestructible.
It's not only that, but if that design existed, it should have completely unbalanced the rest of the war.
Yeah, I mean, so also, being a slight fan of military history, there are very few points where armor has outstripped the ability to defeat armor.
Yeah.
Very few points.
Not for very long, that's for sure.
Real quick.
Yeah, not for very long.
Hashtag ironclads.
Yes.
But, so, it was bad, but I give maybe that whole grouping maybe a 2.75, 2.5-ish. Okay. That goes also for the 2 Legacy of Terror, which is they go down and find the queen of the what the fuck is that race? The Geonosians with the brain slugs that make them zombies.
Right.
And Brain Invaders is the next one, which I think Brain Invaders as a real episode, the 2 of those as real episodes, not made for kids episodes, would have been great.
Yeah.
Because you get good quasi horror suspense out of them.
Sure.
But I mean, I think honestly, the purely for kids format is hurting it.
Okay.
Then it had the Deserter, which is a good one-off episode where Rex meets the I forget the guy's name, the guy who deserted and started a family.
Yes. Yep. Oh,
I
I
was
like that
very
episode a lot.
I gave it about 2 shots of Kraken. Again, the for kids port is making it a little, but
But
was
that
good.
is the first. That's one of the first episodes that really starts to examine the clones as a real, like, wait a second, these guys have the potential to have a life.
I looked at the old episodes, the other ones, and most of the good ones involve clones heavily.
Mm-hmm. The clones are
Like,
the clones will grow as you
Yeah.
go along.
And I can see now that I feel like I understand what they're doing, but I feel like a better series would have been just to focus on the clones, with the Jedi coming in and being these, big, larger than life figures the clones follow. But
Mhm.
that's a more mature series than we're making here.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the one-off Lightsaber Lost. It was kind of fun, but not great. Where she gets her pickpocketed with her lightsaber, which is
Okay. Yeah.
it's a kids episode, but
Sure.
it's an okay kids episode. It's not offensive.
Mm-hmm.
About 2.5 shots of Kraken for that.
Clone Wars is never going to get super dark until the end.
Well,
until the
honestly,
end.
if you actually look at some of the episodes, some of them are super dark. There are people dying all over the place. It's kind of rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's just that it's the subject matter. It's in the background, so kids don't notice it.
Sure.
And then the next is the Mandalore trilogy, the first start of it.
Yeah.
Mandalore
Cool.
Plot, The Voyage of Temptation, and Duchess of Mandalore, which I thought were all very solid episodes.
Yep.
I love that Obi-Wan gets a backstory there with the Duchess of Mandalore. I'm intrigued to see how the Mandalorians end up as Mandalorians at the end, to see what happens there. I
Yep.
feel like this may be a corner turn. It's not quite that drastic corner turn.
Yeah. It's the Mandalorians will continue to play a pivotal role throughout the rest of the series. And
I'm interested to see how they get from point A to point B. You
Yeah.
know, the we know Mandalorians are warriors and all that. We see in the Mandalorian. I want to see how they've gotten from point A to point B.
and there are some good documentaries out there that detail the history of Mandalore, not related to the Clone Wars, but that did go over it, and it is interesting how they end up from point A to point, from the point where you see it right now with the Duchess to where they end up at the end of like Rebels. That storyline continues out into Rebels.
I have heard that, but I am interested. I think it's starting to turn a corner where I don't dread episodes so much.
Good.
You know, I can pretty easily. I didn't watch one today. I'm trying to take like a day off a week or something, just so I'm not
Mhm.
all Clone Wars all the time. There'll be times so I'm gonna go through 2 episodes at once.
Yep.
But I am enjoying it. So far, the season seems like it's trending to about a 2-shot of Kraken season, which is respectable.
Which is an
for a kid
improvement.
series.
It's an improvement over season 1.
A vast improvement and respectable, like I said, for a kid series that's made still pretty purely for kids.
Yep.
And I think right now that is the biggest flaw in the series, is that it's made directly for kids. It's not Star Wars enough
Yep.
because they didn't put enough in for adults.
Legionnaires is now midway into season 2 of Rebels, and
Oh.
shit is about to get serious.
Yeah, no spoilers. I've only seen season 1 of Rebels, but
Yeah.
I will see it all. I have what we decide: this, 2 movies, then Rebels.
Right. Yep. Rebels needs to take place. I think Rebels takes place.
After Solo, or comfortably after Solo.
Yeah, I'm going to say before A New Hope.
But yeah, before
Well before A New Hope, because it's the formation of the rebellion.
yeah, absolutely.
So cool. All right, man. We've done a show. I'm going to play
We
some
have
music.
done a show. I feel a ton better.
Yeah. Oh, good. See, that's why I feel better too.
Yeah.
I feel better too, and it's not just the booze.
It might be a little bit of the booze, but
it's a little bit of the
definitely
booze.
company more than the booze.
Same here, man. You're the like
Ron.
we've said, Ron, the mighty right hand of the podcast, the wind beneath my wings. Well, hey, folks, you stayed with it. We laughed, we cried, we kissed 90 minutes goodbye. And we're going to be here next. I think we'll be. I would have to assume we're going to be here next week. Oh wait, probably not. Today's the 3rd. We will not be here next week because tomorrow
Oh,
so
shit.
I will be spending time with my family. So
There you go. So 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
dos weekos.
Boss.
Yeah. So
Boss.
52 years old. So next week on Wednesday, pour one out for your homie Menoth John, and
I like it poured out. You would not respect that.
no,
I'm
pour
poured
down
my
your
belly.
neck. Pour it down
That's
your neck.
right.
All right. So on behalf of the mighty right hand of the podcast, Mr. John Spencer, I am of course Menoth John. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe, and remember, just like the lady says on Royal Caribbean, washy washy, washy washy. We'll see you next time here on the Painting with Menoth John show. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Washy, washy.
Washy washy.